as we go. So let's start here. Of course, as all things do in most of our training sessions, we start here in Schmidt Resources. So when you go to Schmidt Resources, DAP is still on that front row there, Digital Accelerator program. There's a new image. I forgot to change the main photo out here, but if you click here, it will bring you to the DAP program square. So change some of the photos, change some of the look on some of these things. At the end of the day, it is just the DAP 3.0. And so I'm going to kind of read through some of the stuff as we go, but some of these things are going to be things that you know, but the problem, like you've heard before, but the problem is that not everybody acts off of that or kind of takes that and runs with it the way that they should. So if you're here, that means you understand. If you're here on this call and on this page, means you understand the importance of digital marketing in your business. 97% of all home buyers use the internet in their home search. Again, that shouldn't be a surprise to all of us, right? We all know that people are using the internet like crazy when they're home searching. That being said, only 47% of realtors feel confident in their social media skills. That's where we come in since 2020. So I guess 2020, 1, 2, 3. I guess we're going into our 5th year. That's wild. We've been helping our agents grow their presence and increase their business. So what the goal of DAP is right here on the first line on this right-hand side here. DAP is meant to do two main things: increase your digital presence across social and digital platforms, and take away the stress of you having to do it. So those are the two main value adds. That's the main purpose of this, is get your digital presence increased across social and digital platforms. You are everywhere. And then take the stress away from you having to do that, so that you aren't trying to figure out, how do I do a Google ad? How do I do a Facebook ad? How do I best create this ad? What's the best verbiage to use? What's the best imagery to use for these ads? We take the stress of doing that away out of your hands into ours, so that you can rest assured posts are going out, ads are going out, they are crafted professionally, and they're going out regularly. Because one thing you know is in marketing is that consistency is key, and it's not something you can start and stop. You can't do it for a month and go, well, it's not working, so I'm not going to do it. Or something, the holidays come up, things get busy, and you forget to post for a month or a few weeks, or you do one post a week for a while, and it all drops off. It is the consistency that is key. I'll kind of loop back to this towards the end here, but again, one of my favorite stories is that we had an agent. We'll talk about this towards the end, but we generally recommend and ask that agent stay in the program for at least 6 months, because that's how long it can take, especially from a Google standpoint, but really across the board, for these things to really start to come together and connect, and for that consistency to finally start connecting with people. And one of my favorite stories is we had an agent who, around 2 months into their program, said, they reached out to myself and Tracy and said, I'm not really feeling this. I don't think the results are there that I'm hoping for, but I kind of think I'd like to leave. And Tracy and I talked through with them and said, okay, that's understandable. Like, here's, what are your pain points? And we talked it through and said, listen, at the end of the day, it's been a couple of months. We really would ask that you give it the 6 months. We wouldn't ask you to do this if we didn't know that it worked. We're not trying to hold your feet to the fire here. And they agreed. Okay, yep, that sounds good. Well, I'll stick it out. We'll see what happens. Around the 6-month mark, Tracy called the agent and said, hey, it's 6 months. I told you I'd call you. How's it going? And the agent laughed and said, my ex-spouse just called me or texted me last night and said, or earlier this week, and said, I see you on Google, on Instagram, and on Facebook. How do I make you go away? And that's still one of my favorite pseudo good testimonials, because it means the program's working. But they have been in the program ever since. And that was about 2.5 years ago, and still love the program, have been in it ever since. So the point is that, the way that we have this set up, it's set up for a reason. The programs are structured the way they are for a reason. We've been doing this long enough that we know how programs have worked and what has made a program unsuccessful. So our in-house digital marketing specialists are here to create, schedule, and advertise custom content that shares your unique value proposition with your current sphere of influence, while also adding new clients to your sphere. That's our value prop. As a reminder, this is not a lead gen program. There are elements that can sometimes lead to leads, no pun intended, but that's not the goal here. The goal is not lead generation. So that's another key here, and we'll talk about this a bit more later as well. We are here to help you share your unique value proposition. And what's really important is that before you join Digital Accelerator that you're at a point in your career that you understand what your unique value proposition is, that you understand the basics of real estate, right? Working with clients, actually executing the contracts and the paperwork, but that you also understand what it is you're bringing to the table. And more importantly, that you can communicate that to your clients, that we can assist you in communicating, that you can explain it to us. We can create that content to put out there so that that's what's being seen. So that's one of the big things that we've really tried to focus on, is that not only do we want to help you communicate your unique value proposition, but it's important that you understand what that is in the first place before we start busting out all this awesome marketing and go to town on putting it across the board. So before we can even do any of this, that because this is a digital platform, a digital program, it's important that those digital platforms are set up. So whether you have Facebook and Google, a Google business profile set up and an Instagram account set up and your Moxie site, all of these things that are vital to DAP to work in the first place. A lot of our ads are driving people to your website. If your website's not set up, we've got nowhere to drive people. If you're going to do a Google profile and try to get reviews sent to Google from Testimonial Tree, well, you need to have a Google profile set up in the first place before we can even send reviews there, right? So if you don't have any of those things set up, or if you do have them, but you're like, I haven't used it in years, I don't know how to get into it, any of those things, we kind of got two different things that you can do. Number one is Ignite. Ignite is a one-time, one and done, you're in and you're out program where we help you, assist you in setting all that stuff up, do it for you. We ask you for what we need from you, and then we take it from there. Then all we ask is that you're communicating along the way, if you like this, if you want edits, etc. But basically, we are going to help you, or we're going to set up or refresh your business Facebook page. We're going to set up or refresh Instagram, set up your Google business listing, testimonial tree, website. If you have a custom domain, meaning you bought, jdsellshouses.com, we're going to connect that to Moxie for you. And then we're also going to make sure your listings to leads is configured so that if you ever leverage that program, one, it's set up the way that you want to, but two, that if you start generating leads, they're going right into your Moxie Engage account. So what we want to do in Ignite is set everything up and make sure they all communicate correctly. That testimonial tree is connected to your Moxie site, so the reviews are showing up there. That it's also connected to Facebook or Google, so that you're sending people there to leave reviews, and that your Facebook page is set up with listings to leads the way that you want it to. Our job is to connect all of that together, create all of it, make it look the way that you want, and then if you want to, we hand the reins back to you. We go, great, here you go. This is all good for you. Ignite is a fantastic program for anybody. If you're a brand new agent, it is great for you so that you can get everything set up and hit the ground running. If you're a brand new agent, I do think, and I've talked to a lot of managers about this, it is best to wait until you've been properly onboarded. You've gone through all of your classes, you've gone through all the paperwork that it needs, and then Ignite's then it's the best time to start Ignite. We've tried it when people are onboarded in the first week, and so much stuff can get lost in that time that it's not a great time to do it. But once you're properly onboarded and things have started to settle, Ignite is a great time to do it. It's great if you are still in your first year or two of real estate and you want things to be taken care of and redone for you. It's great if you're 20 years, 30, 40 years into a career and it's like, I know I need to have these things set up, I just don't have the time to do it. Ignite is a great program for an agent at any point in their real estate journey. We also have a version of Ignite called Getting Started. Now it's further down here in the page, but basically Getting Started is Ignite with a DAP package. So if you get Getting Started, you're going to do Getting Started. We're going to go through everything. And once that's done, you're going to roll right into a digital accelerator program, a monthly program. So it's a little bit less expensive because you're going right into a monthly program and you'll continue on from there in a digital accelerator program. Now, we've had some agents say, hey, I'm just going to do Ignite and then I'm going to move on and, do whatever I want to do next. And then they say, hey, Ignite has actually been awesome. I think I'm actually going to go with a DAP program. I get this now. This is actually exactly what I want to do with my business. You will be credited the difference between Ignite and Getting Started, the $100 on your first month. So if you start with Ignite and then decide that you actually do want a DAP program, you will get that $100 credited. That's not going to be something you just lose out on. So if you are interested in Ignite, you can click right here on the banner and it's actually going to take you to a place in the marketplace, in the Schmidt Resources marketplace, where you can put it in your cart and check out. And you can literally pay for it right here in Schmidt Resources and then put it in your cart, check out, and you'll be added to the list. Now, if you purchase Ignite, I'm going to call you within the first week or so, business week or so, and kind of chat with you, make sure that you kind of get it, see if you have any questions before you do the program, and then we're going to schedule an onboarding call for you. Now, Ignite has been one of the most popular things that we've done within Digital Accelerator since the beginning of it. So we are scheduled out a few weeks, basically consistently. Sometimes, especially, there's been a few areas where we've been able to get your program started within the first week of you signing up, but normally it's roughly 2 to 3 weeks out that we're able to put the date on the calendar and say, okay, on this date, we're going to get you going. But we'll have that clarity with you when you call me, or when I call you, get on board and stuff like that. So Ignite is one and done. You can purchase it through the cart or through the marketplace, put it in your cart and check out, and you're off to the races from there. And again, all of the things that are included with Ignite are right there on the page. Any questions on Ignite or getting started real quick before we keep going? Okay, so let's move on to the monthly DAP packages. Actually, real quick, I want to do something a little bit. I want to do one quick detour and then do it. You know, one of the big differences, or I know as well as you do as agents, that you are probably bombarded, or staff, bombarded with emails and third parties saying, work with our digital marketing program, or here's how we can post to Facebook for you, or all of these things, right? Like, we get inundated with that stuff weekly, daily, however often you get it, depending on how often you've unsubscribed. There are a lot of differentiators between our programs and those third-party ones. And I say this every time. A lot of those third-party programs are completely legitimate and great options, right? I'm not here saying we're the only right option out there. That would be ridiculous. But there are some out there that are great, and there are some out there that are crazy overpriced and very generic and not great, for actually growing your business. The couple of the things that differentiate us from day one. And I'll mention number one again in a minute. But number one is that a lot of the programs you see that are highly priced or even lower priced are only posting content for you. They might do cool couple custom little video things or a couple little templates, or put your information on it, but they are exclusively posting content 3 or 5 times a week, and that's it. They're posting stuff, and they're posting that same stuff to other pages, but they're just recycling the postings and they're leaving it there. All that to say is what they're not doing is advertising. They're not running actual advertising campaigns for you and targeting audiences and putting that stuff out there. Every single digital accelerator program that we have, all 4 of them include actual digital advertising, targeting campaigns to the communities that you want to, or the locations that you want to grow your branding, to grow your presence in those communities. Not everything is included in the monthly package. You will never pay a penny more than what the monthly program is. So one thing, first and foremost, is that there is not there's never going to be an extra monthly charge. You want to do an ad? Okay, that's going to be 50 more bucks. That's never going to happen. But 2, we actually have ad campaigns included where a lot of them don't. The second big point that I like to talk about is that a lot of the programs you've seen or that you get emails about, and I've gone through some of the initial onboarding or exploratory processes for a few of them, in research for creating DAP and keeping it going. You've got 2 things that you're doing. One, you're picking the categories of the content you like, or a checklist or whatever. And then 2, if you have any issues, you either have a chat box that you can reach out to, or if you're lucky, you have a 1-800 number. That's about it. In Digital Accelerator, you are assigned an actual human point person that you meet with monthly, and you can reach out to directly whenever you have an issue. So what happens when you sign up and you're actually fully onboarded is Tracy and I personally decide who's going to be the best fit for this person, who's going to fit personality-wise, work-wise, who's going to work best with this agent, and we connect the 2 of you, and they are your point person. So we have them on the page here. I scroll it down a little bit, but this is your digital marketing team. This is your team of digital marketing specialists who, when you sign up for Digital Accelerator and are onboarded into the program, you're going to be assigned to work with one of these digital marketers to be your point person. And the reason I say point person is, one, they are your go-to. They're the one you're having your monthly meetings with. They're the ones, if you have something you have a question about or need help with, you reach out to them. But also, the reason why I say point person is that if that person is out for vacation, if they're sick, if whatever, if they're out of the office, any single person on our team is able to step in and do every single thing for you as well. So if anyone's ever out, one, they're going to communicate that ahead of time, and two, they're going to let you know who your backup is. So if Lindsay is out of the office, she's going to say, hey, I'm going to be out for 3 days next week. Nicole's your backup. Here's her contact info. Reach out to her if you need anything. And if there's anything you want me to take care of now before I go out, let me know and we'll make sure it gets done. There is no point where any ball is going to be dropped between any of these team members. So you have an actual real life person that you get to meet, with regularly. And if you have issues, you reach out to at any point during the program. That's already vastly different than these other programs where, like I said, you have a 1-800 number if you're lucky. So anyway, so getting back to the packages themselves, one of the big differences we've changed within the DAP program is we've actually added basically essentially minimum annual volume requirements to make sure that people are ready for DAP. So here's the verbiage, and I'll talk about why in a little bit more detail. But once you're ready to go, it's time to choose a DAP package. When leveraging digital marketing at this level, it's vital that you know how to actively market as well. This means to write contract, nurture leads, engage with your sphere, etc. Each DAP package has a minimum annual volume requirement. This is to ensure that you're ready for DAP and to serve the clients and business that could come from it as a result. Why is this added to Digital Accelerator? I mean, the reason is literally right there in that paragraph. But what we've seen, and again, we've been doing this long enough to see programs be incredibly successful, and we've seen some peter out and have not the best results, and relationships in terms of clients within the program not work out. One of the biggest factors in what has made a successful Digital Accelerator program is agents who know what to do when we pass them the baton. I've talked to agents who say, hey, I've had some leads come in, so what do I do now? I've had agents literally say to me, they kind of just run themselves, right? They don't know what to do when those leads come in, how to reach out to them. I've had agents, again, these are not made up anecdotes. An agent say, hey, I had a lead who wants me to sell their home, but I've never written a listing contract before. What do I do? These are questions, these are concepts that should really be already learned and ready to go before you enter a digital marketing program at this level. And these are questions and answers, or questions that we and the team as digital marketing specialists aren't thorough in. We're not brokers. Not everybody on the team is licensed. This is where your brokers and managers and mentors come into play. And those are the people to go to for those questions. So what we've seen happen is a lot of agents essentially just really not be quite ready for a digital marketing program of this level. And frankly, we don't want them to be throwing their money away, and we want them to be fully prepared for a program of this level. So what we're starting to do is make sure that this person is fully prepared to join the program. And if not, that doesn't mean that they don't have any help or digital marketing at their disposal. Just 2 weeks ago, I did a marketing informational on I think not all of them, that'd be too many, 4 marketing tools that Schmidt and the Coldwell Banker brand have at your disposal, ready to go right now. So what's important, the ideas here is, hey, let's learn these things first. Let's make sure that you've got these things ready to go. You understand the concept of these. And really, like we said earlier, kind of going up to this first paragraph, that you as an agent understand your unique value proposition and what you are bringing to the table. And then once you've got all that under your belt, let's get you into Digital Accelerator and let's kick butt so that you know what you're doing, that you're ready to best serve your clients. And whether it's new leads or your current sphere, when someone reaches out to you, or when we're asking you, how do you want us to word this? What do you think is best here in terms of what you want to bring to the table? You've got answers, we've got answers, and there's a perfect synergy going on. So it's a new new thing we're bringing to the table, but it's something that we're really excited about because at the end of the day, it's genuinely about making sure the program is successful for the agent. So that's one of the new things we have going on with the programs here, but we've also changed some of the offerings within the program. And again, the reason why we've made a couple of these changes is mainly, as I mentioned earlier, to keep up with the best practices of social media, to make sure that the kind of content that we're posting, the frequency of the content that we're posting lines up with what we've read in terms of best practices, where content is going, and also specifically in the social media based packages to make sure that we are leaving room for the stuff that agents should be posting. So let's kind of talk about what that means here. My mouth's getting dry though, so too much coffee, not enough water this morning. So let's start with the social presence program. Social presence program is kind of the base program, if you will. The way that I've always described it is that social presence and web presence are like two sides of a ball, and the plus and premium are both sides put together, all of that in a bag of chips, and then all of that in a luxury bag of chips. But the social presence program is the social media side of things. This is where everything in this program is purely based around social media, Facebook and Instagram specifically. So the production minimum here is 2.5 million annual production minimum. Now that's rolling, right? So if you join in January, we're going to look hopefully back on the past 12 months. If you join in March, we're not going to go, let's look at January through March. We're going to look at the past 12 months or maybe the last calendar year, whatever is the most fair way to kind of look at that information. But the first thing you're going to see is that we've gone from well, in terms of posting, we have 3 weekly posts on your business Facebook page, 2 weekly posts on Instagram, and one of the new features we have is 1 monthly video from the Coldwell Banker custom video creator. So that's one of the new tools that Coldwell Banker has released. It's really cool and easy to kind of go in and edit some things. We want to add one of those per month to your program to make sure that it's, first of all, that it has your information on it, but second, that it's edited in a way, edited in any word edit after the word edited is hard to do, edited in a way that reflects you and your community, whether that means choosing from the options that CB has already or adding some of our own options in so that it reflects you and your community and your unique value proposition. So we're adding video in there, but one of the reasons why the posting is at the level it is because one of the things that there's one thing that we've read and one thing that I've seen work incredibly effectively is that we're getting to a point that it's kind of ebbed and flowed where everybody, more content was good and good and good, and then it kind of became, oh, too much content, we're overflowing news feeds and we want to make sure that we pull back. And then it kind of, for the past 12 to 18 months, kind of got back to a place where post 1 or 2 things a day every day, Monday through or Sunday through Saturday, get that content out there. And now we're kind of seeing the thing flip back again, where we want to have less content, but really good curated content. 3 posts a week, really good curated content, whether it is articles or content that is perfect for you and your audience, or custom templates. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes or a couple seconds here, that is specific to you, that reflects you and your branding and your community. But the thing that I also wanted to do, and I've seen this work time and time again, is make sure that we leave room for you to be posting content with you in it. I cannot explain how much that stuff works over any other content. That you being in it is the most important thing. People over properties, people over graphics. You have to be there. Now, if you want to send us that stuff and us to run with it, we will always do that, and we can put you in graphics. But it's the stuff that agents sometimes don't like to do. But a selfie of you at some sort of work event is always going to get more traction than a property or an ad that we're running in terms of organic engagement. And I have a perfect example of that I'd like to share. I wanted to make sure I got the right photo up here, or the right page up here. So I have the instead. So I didn't want to use a specific agent, but I have the Greater Grand Rapids Regional Facebook page here. And what we have here, if you scroll a little bit, I'm going to start kind of down here, and I'm going to show you the people versus properties or graphics thing. So we have a great graphic here in terms of back on the market, sold, testimonials. We got a just sold that has 3 or 4 likes here. We've got a back on the market that has 3. just sold for two, just sold for two, Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah post, listing that has 0 likes. Now, that doesn't mean that there's 0 engagement on it. I want to make that incredibly clear. People think that if there's 0 likes, that means there's 0 engagement. That's not the case. But now I want to show you what happened when we posted some photos from their holiday event last week when they had Santa come and people could make ornaments and stuff like that. 17 likes, and I was one of them, so I'll take mine out. 16 likes, comments as well, and all that in 3 days, compared to things that have been on here for longer with fewer likes. When you put people and faces and yourself out there more, that content always performs better. So one of the things that we really want to bring to DAP that has always been part of it, but we want to bring more to the forefront, is more coaching and more best practices on what you should also be doing in conjunction with the ad campaigns and content that we're bringing to your page. So again, I feel incredibly confident. The proof is always in the pudding, that you being present is always going to be the most valuable content on your page. So we're here to help that. We're going to post some real, and we're going to do some listing maintenance and updates to your Google business profiles, making sure that they always stay up to date. And let me show you what a Google business profile is real quick. Let me make sure I type the right thing here. This is my profile that I use for training, but a Google business profile looks like this. When people Google your name, a profile shows up on the side instead of just my results here on Google with my website showing up there. What you'll actually see here is my profile with my face, my contact info. If I added it, it'd have my website, but it allows me to get reviews here. It has my bio here, all of this stuff. This profile is invaluable, and it's so much more effective than just having your website here. So we're going to make sure this is set up, and then we're going to make updates to this as needed, making sure that the reviews look the way that you want them to, if they're actually getting there, making sure you have the right photo that you want, their contact info, all of that. So we're going to do that. But we're also going to, the way that I've liked to word this recently is, we're going to make sure we have custom social media templates for you. So custom and templates, people kind of go, okay, is that generic or is that not? No, they're not generic, they're custom. But the reason why we have templates, the reason I use that word, is because it's incredibly important that your branding is consistent. That when people see your stuff, they recognize it. Whether it's a billboard, a postcard, a listing flyer, or social media content, your marketing should look consistent everywhere they go. So what we like to do is say, okay, JD, or okay, Jane Doe, let's go ahead and create what your templates are going to look like, and talk to you about your branding, talk to you about the way that you want them to look, and then have a group of templates for listings and for testimonials and for whatever you may need content wise, and we're going to use those. And they're going to be consistently the same branding and style, but they're going to be unique to you. And so when we post that content consistently in conjunction with your ad campaigns, in conjunction with the stuff that you start to post, we're in business. We're building a consistent branding campaign, but consistent messaging across all platforms, print and digital, so that people recognize you and your branding and out there. I have one agent in Florida who her branding is a red high heel shoe. And she has that on her social media. She has it on her flyer. She put it on some benches across town. But my favorite thing she showed me last week is she also has it on her pickleball paddle board, or pickleball paddle. I think she said it was like $50 or something like that. She goes, but it's one of the best investments I've made, because every time I play with new people, they ask me about it. And I say, oh, it's my real estate, marketing. And then they almost always follow it up with, oh yeah, I've seen that banner, or I've seen that billboard there. It's connected everywhere. So we're going to create custom templates so that your marketing is consistent and it's going to be specific to you. And then at the end of course, included with all that, like I said earlier, is the ad campaigns. We're going to do 1 to 2 ad campaigns a month for you, depending on what your objectives are for that month. So we could do listing campaigns. That could be lead gen through listings to leads, if that's what your objective is for that month. We could do branding campaigns that are out there that are geared towards getting you and your branding out there, so that people see you, see your face, and that's the pure objective. What that campaign is going to be, or what those couple of campaigns are going to be, are going to differ month to month. but they're all going to be about you and your business and what you're asking for and what your objectives are and the best way to accomplish those. The second program we have is web presence. It's the same production minimum, 2.5 annual production minimum. And this is the web side of things, the website, the Google side of things. So social presence was all social media, no Google and web stuff. Web presence is all web stuff and Google, no social media. So basically in web presence, you've got full Moxie website management. We're going to make sure you have a custom Moxie homepage, and we're going to make sure to continue to update that as you have updates, as you have new ideas. We're also going to continue to, I'd say normally quarterly, but sometimes a little more frequently, depending on what we see, to continue to audit that and say, hey, this looked great, still does, but how about we do this a little bit more? How about we change this a little bit? But not only are we going to do custom homepages, we're also going to do additional pages for your website, depending on what you want it to be. So that could be custom searches. It could also be community pages. It could also be real estate based pages, meaning I've had agents say, hey, I want to do a page on the top 5 home buying myths and the top 5 home selling myths. So I can have those pages on my site ready to go in case people ask me next. I get asked about that a lot. So I want pages on my site talking about that. Just recently, I had an agent in web presence say that she wants to start building a page about her community involvement and the causes that they support every year. So they're going to start to gather that information, and then we're going to build out a page. So they're going to gather the photos for us and the descriptions of the organizations, and then we take it from there to make sure it looks awesome. So web presence is all about building your site out, making sure that's set up correctly, making sure testimonial tree is perfectly integrated with both the testimonial tree page, but also that you have your testimonials rotating on your homepage or on a different site so that they're right there. And then we have a Google ad campaign for direct website traffic. Google ad campaigns are some of the most effective and powerful advertising campaigns out there right now because Google, as we know, is the #1 search engine, but it's also where people are going intently to look for things. They are going there specifically to look for things. So when people are going to Google, they are searching homes for sale in Vero Beach. Sell my home in Brecksville. So they're going there looking for real estate based queries in the first place. And then our ads start showing up, your ads start showing up, and that's where you start to get seen. So Google ads are great. Google ads are also far more expensive on a daily basis, which is why the web presence program is more expensive than social presence. It's because we want to make sure that our ads are effective and competitive on those platforms. So those are the social and web presence programs, right? Kind of two halves of the coin. The coin doesn't make sense because you don't put a coin together of the sandwich. There we go, sandwich. Peanut butter, jelly, plus as you put those two things together. So before we do that, I want to show you guys some of the examples here of things that of websites specifically that we make in our web presence or Ignite and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, they're all real estate sites, but they're all also custom to these agents based off of their branding, their style, and what they want the site to look like. So I just wanted to go through a couple of them quick, just to very briefly show you some of these agent sites, just to give you an idea. But I always tell people, I get asked a lot, hey, do you have a couple of examples of sites that you can show me? And I always say, absolutely. But remember, they're custom. So if you look at these 4 sites, I don't want you thinking, oh, these are kind of what my 4 options are. They're examples, but they're not the only thing. But again, you're all going to have some some pretty consistent themes of search bars, bios, contact info, stuff like that, to because you want your real estate site to be about you and the listings and stuff like that. So we love to, especially recently, get the new Coldwell Banker tools like the Move Meter or the CB Estimate included in things. But it's also really important that your homepage isn't too long. Some people want to cram too many things in a homepage, and that defeats the purpose of a homepage. It's not supposed to be here's everything. It's supposed to be here are a few things. It's just a different page on Mark's site. And then last but not least, one of our island pages with a beautiful island video to make all of us in the Midwest feel just a little bit sad that we are in a gray, gloomy time. So just wanted to show off some of these some of these websites to show you what some of these, when we say custom homepage, what we're talking about. So now we're moving on to the plus and premium packages, which, like I said, they're the social and web presence programs combined with a little bit more oomph to them. So first thing you're going to see is that it's everything combined, meaning the social posting, the monthly video, the custom templates, the Google campaign, the Google business profile, the Moxie site updates, as well as a monthly curated and distributed newsletter. So we're going to build a newsletter for you in Moxie Present for you to send out to your clients. As long as you have your Moxie Engage lists built out, we can send it out on your behalf. If you don't have them built out yet, then we ask you to either build out your newsletter list or send it out to the people that you know, because again, it's your sphere and we don't feel comfortable stepping in and sending out things to people that we're not sure about. But if you've got a newsletter list built out and Engage and you say, yep, good to go, send it out, we'll take it from there. And then review and brand reputation management. Now, what that is inclusive of is anything regarding testimonials, and also making sure that the content that's going out, which we always do to a degree, is consistent, like we've said, but also that people are, if we see the comments coming in, if we see stuff like that, it's always going to be best for you to engage with that stuff. But if we see stuff coming in that's positive, it's always best to engage positively back. If it's negative, it's great to either have a professional test or professional response from the agent, or to hide that comment. So we'll always kind of keep an eye out for that and let you know about those things so that you can respond appropriately or let us know. But also to take that review from Google and make sure we can make a graphic to share on other platforms. We just like to make sure that everything is consistent across the board for you and that it is reflected in as many places as possible. And then, of course, it's the ad campaigns. So in the plus and premium levels, you're going to have the combination of the Google ads and the Facebook ads. You have a higher ad spend, so we like to do 2 or 3 campaigns on Facebook a month, or Facebook and Instagram a month, as well as the Google ad campaign. Now, the reason why social presence is only 1 to 2 campaigns and plus is only 2 to 3 and premiums 3 to 4 is because best practice for ad campaigns is less ads with bigger budgets than more ads with smaller budgets. We want to make sure that ads are effective, that we're thinking about what we're doing and not just saying, well, I've got 6 new listings, so I need to do 6 campaigns. Those campaigns are not going to be as effective as 2 or 3 thought out targeted campaigns with bigger budgets. And so the production minimum for plus is 4 million annually. And then we get, of course, to premium. Premium is designed for luxury agents and teams of 3 or more. Premium is, again, all of these things really luxury based, really team based. And for individual agents, no matter what, it is an 8 million minimum for annual production. And then especially for individual agents, you have to be global luxury certified to make sure that you understand the global luxury program and the kind of content we'll be sharing. But same thing for teams. Most of the time, the teams that are in this program are global luxury certified, so it's never really been a concern. But we wanted to make sure that it was clear that this is really what this program is built for. So when we say luxury social media and website branding upgrades, one of the big things is just that everything we do is going to be luxury based. The logos that we use, the content we find, the templates we build, everything is going to be luxury branded towards you and towards the CB luxury program. Same things all still apply in terms of the social posting and the newsletter and the Google business. It's just everything is going to be specifically luxury based, dedicated luxury SEO management. Now, real quick note on SEO is that everything we do is SEO forward. SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's basically what people do in the back end of websites to try to get your website up in the rankings of Google, show up higher on Google pages. Every single thing we do is SEO forward, is built that way. SEO is becoming less and less important compared to paid advertising, because no matter what you're doing SEO wise, you're competing against Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com, all of these aggregators, as well as every single local and national and worldwide brokerage. So although SEO is everything we do, a lot of people come in saying, I need you guys to get me to number 1 on Google. That's not what we do in Digital Accelerator. What we do is more important than that, because that's not really an achievable thing unless you're trying to blog every single day on your site. So although everything we do is SEO forward, which you do because it is still important and it does still affect rankings, It is the ad campaigns that we build that are far more effective than that part of it. But it's still important that we do everything we do intentionally and purpose driven and built with the SEO best practices in mind. So all of that's happening. And then, of course, because we're at a higher level, again, more ad campaigns, higher budgets to make sure that you and the ads that we are building for you are competitive. Now, a couple of the little fine print things down here. Like we said, all ad spends included. And we also ask, so some agents still want to do lead generation. Again, that can be a factor that's included. It is based on the listings that are provided each month. So listings are always, again, we're doing this for 4 years now, the best way to generate leads. So if you've got listings you're bringing to the table, they're going to be far more effective for lead gen than other advertising campaign. So if you've got, hey, I've got 3 listings and this month that I want to advertise, I want to do lead gen focused, we're going to be able to generate some leads. But then the other part that's incredibly vital to this program, we'll talk about this more in a little bit, is showing up. So we ask for a monthly meeting on Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever, to meet once a month to go over results, to meet about what's coming up next. That collaboration is vital. And I realized we're already at 12:47, so I want to try to speed things along a little bit. But it's vital that we hear from you, but it's also vital that you hear from us. So at these meetings every single month, you're going to get a report on your results. And I didn't want to use a specific agent, so I used one of the regions. I used the Greater Grand Rapids regional report. But you're going to get a report that looks like this each month. It's going to show you the ads we've run. It's going to show you the results from those ads. It's also going to show you underneath these ones, it'll say last month's results and year to date. So every report, you're going to see these numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger until the end of the year, where you're going to go, this is all of the stuff that's happened for me this year. I've been seeing this many times on Facebook. And then, of course, if you're Plus or Premium, on Google as well. You're going to get this so that you're seeing, here's what we're doing. Here are the actual results based off of the campaigns that we're running. Some agents love to show this to their sellers. They love to say, hey, here's what, and I tell agents to say this, here's what my digital marketing team is doing for you. I have a digital marketer as part of my team, and here's what I do for my clients when I get your listing, when I list your home. And then one of my favorite phrases to add to any listing appointment when you have kind of a ace up your sleeve like that is, and if it's something like, hey, and if you decide to not work with me, that's totally fine. Just make sure whoever you do work with has someone on their staff like this as well. That's always super important as well. So you get a report from us so that you see what we're doing for you as well. Now, I have one little disclaimer down here in fine print that's really, really important. And what it comes down to is basically this. Our team are all incredibly skilled, went to school for, have been trained in, certified in Google, trained digital marketing experts, and trained graphic designers. That all being said, we can't circumvent certain rules or certain requirements from other platforms. For example, when setting up a Google business profile, Google requires a verification to prove that it's actually you. It used to be really simple that they would send you a postcard with a code on it, you'd input that code, and they'd go, great, you're verified. For the second half of this year, they've really swapped it all over to video verification, where you have to basically do a little video tour of, hi, this is me, this is actually my office. You think you need to have a little bit of official paperwork, like a business card or something that proves that this is the office you're associated with. And there's nothing we can do to bypass that system. It's Google wanting to say, to make sure that the information on their platform is verified and true. So we will do everything we can do to facilitate and do every part that we can so you don't have to, but there are certain things that we can't do. And the video verification, for example, although it can be laborious, it's entirely legitimate, it's common, and it's necessary for your profile to actually be shown on Google. So if whether it's Ignite or getting started or something in DAP, that's not something we can do. It's something we can show you how to do. We've got a guide on what you'll need to do for it to set it up, but it's important that you actually do it yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to show up until you do it. So just always like to make clear, I always say this to agents is, I don't work for Facebook. We don't work for Google. So we are skilled in everything, but we can't change their rules, right? So just that disclaimer. And then another thing that we're going to start adding starting next year is DAP client only training sessions. So we really, like I said, we really wanted to get into the mentoring and the coaching and best practices so that you can take what we're doing for you and run with it and make sure that you're leveraging all of it that we have that we're offering you to the best of your abilities. So starting next year, it might be January, it might not be until February, but we're going to start offering DAP client or training sessions specific to DAP clients, only offered to DAP clients with from us and the team that you'll see. And hopefully I also want to loop in other DAP clients who've been successful or agents who have best practices on lead gen, on other topics. And so if for our DAP agents, let us know what you want to hear in terms of topics, but also that's going to be something, a value add that we want to make sure we give to our DAP clients, training specific to them, advance a little bit more than you're going to get in our normal training sessions. So we got getting started, and then a couple more pieces, again, just a couple more pieces of information before I do a couple more questions and what can you, how to sign up. So what DAP isn't, like we said, it's not a digital market, or sorry, it's not a lead generation program. We made that pretty clear. It isn't your personal or real estate assistant. So if you're working with a dapper, they're not your administrative assistant. We don't have logins to your MLS. We don't work in .loop or app files like you do. There are certain things that your ASC is going to be your go-to person for, or like we said, that your broker or manager are going to be the people to get those answers for. So what's included in the program is specifically built out for a reason. And we're going to always help you and go above and beyond in every single way that we can. But at the same time, there are going to be situations where there's going to be a different person that is your go-to person, or everything is going to be accomplished in that program every single month, no matter what. That is the guarantee of Digital Accelerator, but it might not be, I need this done in 20 minutes, because we might be in a different meeting. We might be on a training doing something else. Our goal is to do everything that we can do as fast as we can with the quickest turnaround in the world. But sometimes it's going to be not 20 minutes, it might be an hour, it might be a couple of hours, but everything we do is as fast as we can. And then, like I said earlier, this is so incredibly important to me. It's not a substitution for your personal presence on social media. Again, the content that we build, the custom templates, are going to be so in line with you and your branding and everything it can be. However, we're not you. We can't do a little 30-second Q&A as you. We can't do a little market update video as you. Your personal presence on social media is so incredibly important. What DAP is a digital marketing program that increases your presence across the top visited online platforms. It's a program that takes away the stress of staying present on platforms away from you. It lets trained digital marketing specialists and experts professionally craft successful content and campaigns. Again, I hear this all the time. People say, well, I think I can do a lot of this stuff for myself. Two things there. One, then absolutely go for it. There's no part of me here that is trying to convince someone who doesn't want to be in DAP to be a part of it. If you feel like you can handle all of this stuff, absolutely go for it. But the other part of it is, even if you can do it, can you do it with the best practices? Do you know what content works? What verbiage works? Are you keeping up with the same readings that we are, so that you know the best way to craft campaigns? Or are you saying that, yes, I physically know how to post stuff, and are you actually going to do it? And then finally, it's an all-inclusive content and advertising program offered far below the market rate. And then lastly, are you ready for DAP? The ideal candidate is required to meet the annual production minimums. Again, this is ensured to make sure that you are involved properly and you can serve your clients properly, has a financial ability to commit to at least 6 months. That is the ideal, hopeful thing that you can do coming into DAP, because it's a consistent effort to be successful. We want to make sure that when you're coming in, this is going to be productive and successful. Again, that part of this goes back to the first point, that you know how to use the tools, that you know how to use the MLS, or when leads are coming into Moxie, that you know where to access those. We're always going to be here to answer every question that you have along the way, but it's important that you have the basic tenets of some of these things down. We'll collaborate and effectively communicate with your digital marketing specialists and engage them. This is the key. This has been the make or break for DAP programs being successful between agents and digital marketers. It is the collaboration that makes these things so successful. I've been here for over 7 years. I know that your business, that real estate, can change in an instant, right? You've got a meeting scheduled. It's going to be great. Things are going to go happen. And then you got an agent or client who wants to see a property now. or you've got a listing falling apart and you need to save the deal. That's always, that totally get that. That happens all the time. But a quick text or a quick email, hey, I got to reschedule this meeting, or a quick follow up after it, just the courtesy of, hey, real quick, I'm so sorry, I'm going to need to reschedule. This just happened. Letting us know that you're going to have to reschedule, or making sure that we're communicating in ways that help move things along so that we can serve you to the best of our abilities. When there's ghosting for weeks, when there's not responses to emails or texts or calls, that's when things can fall apart. And another thing I always like to make crystal clear is that if you have, God forbid, a complaint or something that you feel like isn't working, or you didn't like the way that something turned out, share that. Tell your digital marketer, hey, I kind of want this to look differently, or I don't feel like I understand this. Can you explain it more? We want to make sure that you feel comfortable with everything being executed in your program. So you can come to your digital marketer with anything and let them answer those questions. If you don't feel comfortable coming to your digital marketer for whatever reason, call me or text me and say, hey, JD, do you have a minute to talk? I just want to have a couple of questions about DAP that I want to make sure that I ask. Because the last thing, and I've had this happen a couple of times where someone comes to me and they want to leave the program, and then they share 3 or 4 issues. And I said, well, did you share any of these with, your marketer? And they say, well, no, I didn't want to hurt their feelings. Well, they were all things that could have been resolved, but now we're here. So that communication and collaboration, it's a two-way street. We have to do that for you, and we ask that you bring that to us so that we can do the best job we can for you. And then, of course, the last part is, if there are leads involved in your program, that you nurture them, that you do your best you can to develop those leads. Because at the end of the day, those are people inquiring about your services. And even though they might not be ready now, they might be 6, 12, 18 months from now, and we don't just want to leave them in the lurch. Last part real quick, as we near the end of the hour, what do you do if you are ready to join DAP? We put the form at the bottom of the page for a reason, y'all. Because that means you can't say, oh, I didn't see any of this other stuff. You go to the bottom of the page here, you fill out this form about what package you want, and Tracy is going to give you a call.